Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the India Water Foundation, we welcome you to the International Conference on Deciphering Transversality of Water, Energy, Environment Nexus during the Water Transversality Awards and Conclave, which is supported by the Ministry of Jal Shakti, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Ministry of Empowerment of the Government of India, and the South and Southwest Asia Office of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, that is UNESCAP. We extend a very warm and hearty welcome to all the stakeholders who have joined us here today at the Dr. Ambedkar International Center in New Delhi. Once again, a very warm welcome to all of you. May I first take the pleasure of requesting Dr. Arvind Kumar, President, India Water Foundation, to please join us on stage. May I also request Mr. Shombi Sharp, UN Resident Coordinator, India, to please join us on stage. Amidst your warm welcome, may I request Sri Sachin Chaturvedi, Director General, RIS, to please join us on stage as well. We extend a very warm and hearty welcome to Ms. Mikiko Tanaka, Head, South and Southwest Asia Office, UNESCAP. May I request her to please join us on stage as well. We extend a very warm welcome to Sri Amit Ghosh, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India. We extend a warm and hearty welcome to the honored dignitaries who have now taken their seats on the dais. It gives me great pleasure to introduce them all to you. We warmly welcome on stage Dr. Arvind Kumar. He is a strategist and key influencer in development sector with more than 30 plus years of experience, an author, columnist, water and human rights pro-activist, and he also specializes in ecosystem-based adaptation, water, energy, food areas with specific emphasis on transversality approach of interlinkages between water, environment, and SDGs. He is a climate policy expert of Article 6.4 mechanism, roster of experts on UNFCCC, author of Ecosystem-Based Adaptation, published by Elsevier, London. I now take the pleasure of requesting Dr. Arvind Kumar to kindly give his remarks and share with us his opening remarks on this first day of this international conference.
So, good morning, everyone. Sri Amit Ghosh, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Social Justice, Empowerment, Government of India, Dr. Shombi Sharp, Resident Coordinator of the United Nations in India, Sri Sachin Chaturvedi ji, Director General, RIS, Mikiko Tanaka, Head of South and South West, and distinguished delegates, global thought leaders, friends and esteemed guests. We gathered today at a critical intersection of global challenges where the intricate nexus of water, energy and environment demands on our most innovative and holistic thinking. The Water Transversality Global Awards and Conclave 2024 was not designed merely as a conclave but a potential answer to a complex puzzle, are not just pieces but the entire framework. The International Conference on Water, Energy, Environment Nexus is a transformative platform that recognizes the fundamental interconnectedness of our planet's most critical and resources and focus on discussions which will shape the future of a sustainable planet. We shall explore a quantum of leap beyond traditional thinking, moving from fragmented silos perspective to a holistic understanding of interconnected systems. This approach transcends old debate about development versus environmental protection. Instead, we are pioneering a sophisticated multi-sectoral strategy that recognizing the intricate relationships between our most critical resources. The global landscapes demand innovative, adaptive solutions that break down the artificial boundaries between economic development and environmental sustainability. Consider the complex interdependencies that define our global ecosystem. Water is not just a resource, but a critical threat wavering through energy production, agriculture systems, and environmental sustainability. It is not mere sector, but a connector and a development indicator. Recent studies tell that nearly 80% of water withdrawal, whether of energy generation, industrial processes, or agriculture activities, has profound environmental implications. The energy sector provides a stark illustration of these interconnections. Power plants, and particularly thermoelectric installations, consume vast water resources for cooling, steam production, and environmental control systems. Modern cooling technologies have evolved from insufficient ones through systems to more sophisticated recirculating approaches that minimize water withdrawal while optimizing energy production. Global challenges demand unprecedented collaboration. To commemorate this pivotal moment, the India Water Foundation will be releasing a special with cancellation on the theme of India Water Foundation cover, Transversality Awards and Conclave 2024, a symbolic representation of our collective commitment to understanding and addressing the intricate water, energy, environment nexus. We will have a book release, and the culmination would be facilitating the leaders, organization, youth, academic institutions, government in water, energy, environment, and related sectors. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals has expanded our understanding of sustainability, emphasizing stakeholder responsibilities across sectors. The UN Climate Change Conference in Baku underscored the urgency of immediate integrated actions addressing environmental, energy, and water-related planetary challenges. India stands as a beacon of innovation approaches to this complex nexus. Our national initiatives demonstrate a comprehensive study that stimulates simultaneously address water security, energy transformation, and environmental sustainability. The Jal Jeevan Mission and the National Water Missions are not isolated interventions, but interconnected strategies that recognize the fundamental relationship between water, energy, and environmental system. Our conference will dive deep into the critical themes: renewable energies, environmental implications, disaster risk management, industrial water efficiency, decarbonization pathways, health trilemma, and ecosystem restoration. Each session represents a piece of a large puzzle, understanding and optimizing the intricate relationships between water, energy, environment, and health. Global success stories will inspire hope, demonstrating how technologies innovation can transform water scarcity into water security. The renewable energy adoption showcases how energy generation can be reimagined to minimize environmental impact. These examples prove that integrated, thoughtful approaches can be address complex challenges. The water, energy, environment nexus is not a theoretical construct, but a lived reality as global greenhouse gas emissions continue to challenge our planetary system. The need for an integrated and multi-sectoral approach become increasingly urgent. We are not just discussing resources, we are reimagining our relationship with the natural world. This conference is a movement, a collective commitment to sustainable development by embracing technological innovations, adopting ecosystem-based adaptations, fostering multi-stakeholder partnerships, and developing adaptive governance models. We can chart a course towards a more resilient and sustainable future. Together, we will decipher the complex nexus of water, energy, environment. Together, we will create a blueprint of global sustainability. While not just discussing resources, we are redesigning our future. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kumar, for articulating your thoughts with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very pleased to welcome in our midst today Mr. Shombi Shah. He is the UN Resident Coordinator for India and has devoted more than 25 years of his career to promoting inclusive and sustainable development internationally. He is a published author in health economics as well as a nominee for the UNDP Administrators Award. May I request him to kindly share his thoughts with us.
Thank you so much. Dear colleagues, Sri Amit Ghosh, Additional Secretary of the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India, Sri Sachin Chaturvedi, Director General of RIS, Dr. Arvind Kumar, President of the India Water Foundation, Ms. Mikiko Tanaka, my dear colleague from SCAP, to all of the partners who have made this possible, the ministries of Jal Shakti, Social Justice and Empowerment, and Ministry of Power, and SCAP colleagues, all of the other partners there that you see, and to everybody here in the room. It's a great honor and pleasure to be here. Aap sabhi ko UN family ki taraf se mera namaskar. Good morning to all of you from the United Nations in India. The privilege to be a partner in this all-important conversation on transversality. I think that's quite a powerful word that really brings to mind this nexus between water, energy, environment, and everything else that is associated across the Sustainable Development Goals. Water, energy, environment, these aren't, of course, just resources to exploit, but these are the very foundation of our existence, of our prosperity, of our future. And water within this picture in particular is one of humanity's most precious global common goods, connecting all of us and bringing together these other important streams, energy and environment as well. If we think about it, we know that water is also about health. It is about sanitation, hygiene, disease prevention. Water is also about peace and security, stability, reducing conflicts, fostering cooperation across borders. Water is about sustainable development, about fighting poverty, about supporting sustainable food systems. Water is about creating jobs, prosperity, about reducing inequalities. Water is fundamentally about human rights as well. And yet, the reality remains stark that 2 billion people across the world still don't have access to safely managed drinking water. Among them, almost 800 million people don't even have access to basic drinking water in their homes. In India, nearly 700 million people live in one of the country's 600,000 rural villages. So one can understand that the challenges to provide safe, accessible drinking water at the household level, community and household level, were simply enormous, almost unfathomable. So in 2019, the government of India launched the Jal Jeevan mission to provide safe, adequate, and reliable drinking water to all rural households across India. And I think that the achievements have been simply remarkable. And this has provided not only a huge development lift here in India, but has been at such a scale as to move global SDG targets. The United Nations in India has been privileged to join hands with the government in many of these initiatives as a humble partner. For example, UNOPS, also a partner here today, joined hands with the government of Denmark to partner with Jal Jeevan Mission here in India, providing different technical and training support offerings. Also, the UN in India has been actively working in many other directions to foster resilience and inclusivity and sustainability across many sectors linked very much to these topics. Just a few brief examples. Water and climate resilience. Through partnerships, for example, supported like the UNDP JEF Small Grants Program. We've been actively working with states and with panchayats to empower local communities to take management and leadership over their sustainable water management and water security. Energy and green transition. Agencies such as UNIDO have been working on renewable energy projects and partnerships with government, with communities, with industries to enhance industrial energy efficiency and to minimize water usage in industrial processes. We have 5 agencies who have come together in the Partnership for Action on Green Economy, offering comprehensive packages of technical and capacity partnerships. That's UNEP, ILO, UNIDO, UNDP, and UNITAR. We've been looking at the data-driven nexus, data-driven policy support. So for example, UNICEF is working with government on water and sanitation programs, looking at how new sources of data can be harnessed to improve access to clean water, sanitation, and disease reduction. So I think this, colleagues, this conference, this conclave, this multi-day gathering is an excellent platform to explore not only the interdisciplinary nature of the water, energy, and environment nexus, but also the multi-stakeholder nature of how do we achieve the goals that governments set and that must be delivered, as we know today, largely through community action, through the business community, and through partnerships. And here we see linkages between water efficiency and green economy. India is leading the way with massive investments in renewable energy, green hydrogen, for example, for decarbonization. And all of this is really at the core of the Sustainable Development Goals. So I think this is a fantastic opportunity to learn from each other. And I think that it is very fitting that India is serving as host, given its role as a strong voice for the Global South, a strong voice for climate justice, for the right to development, for South-South cooperation. We have Sachin here, will speak more about that, I'm sure. To conclude, as the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres says, let's commit to work together to make water a force for cooperation, for harmony, for stability, and to help create a world of peace and prosperity for all, and really bringing this nexus, water, energy, and environment, to life. And as we say here in India, Jal hi Jeevan hai. Water is life. Bahut dhanyavad. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp. Thank you for this thought-provoking address. Water is indeed life itself. Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome in our midst today Professor Sachin Chaturvedi. He is currently Director General at Research and Information System for Developed Countries, which is a New Delhi-based think tank. May I now request him to kindly address the August gathering.
Thank you and good morning to all. My dear friend, Dr. Arvind Kumar, congratulations to you for holding this very timely and very appropriate platform. And when I was looking at the theme, I was quite happy to see water, energy, environment nexus. And I was thinking that where is social policy? And I'm so delighted to see Shri Amitav Ghosh today here, who brings in the social policy perspective. So congratulations for this huge balance that you have done. My dear friend, Mr. Shambi Sharp, who has been providing much more people's connect to UN in India, and with your continued commitment to pick up Hindi, I must congratulate you for bahut badai, Mr. Shambi Sharp and Ms. Mikiko Tamaka. Great to have you here, and UNSCAP partnership, I think, is extremely important for us to see how regional integration goes forward. And congratulations for your continued commitment through SANS, of which RIS is also a member. And I think that is something that we need to take forward. The idea of sustainable development goals is not just the UN commitment. It is our collective commitment. It is also our commitment in terms of understanding the holistic nature of development that we require. And water or any other specific goal, I saw the publication which is there in the folder focusing on SDG Goal 6. So water is something which you visit through SDG Goal 2, which is about nutrition, agriculture. You visit it through health because clean water is source for health, and impure water is invitation to several challenges. Goal 4, which is very much about education and the continued commitment in educational infrastructure, is not feasible without access to water. Goal 5, where gender is most adversely affected if water facilities are not available. So goal 6 is intertwined with not only the preceding goals, but also afterwards the goal 7, which is energy, and then you go to goal 11, which is about urbanization, and then 13 and 14, 15. They all are crucially dependent on SDG 6. So SDG 6 is, I think, the only goal which cuts across all other goals. Water is, as Shambi Sharp rightly said, Jal hi Jeevan hai, water is life. So I think that's extremely important for us to realize and appreciate. It is also important to think of water when we are thinking of a heated world. And heated world requires new strategies, new hopes, and new plans to focus on. The United Nations Water Conference of 2023 has given us the basis, and now that the UN Water Conference for 26 and 28 are already sort of in the pipeline, we need to work out the details that are sort of reflective of 2024 G7 declaration on water coalition that has been already formed by G7 countries, by the developed countries. So we need to strategize and think in terms of how global response on water is coming in, what kind of actions are required, and for that matter, probably what is also required by the global south, the developing countries, is to localize this. The idea of SDG brings in localization of development, and that's where I strongly feel that at the local level, we need to see how industrial policy is talking to us, how the social policy is talking to us, how biodiversity policy is connected with this, and how climate policy is connected. So all these 4 policies are intertwined in a local strategy that would bring in our concerns on water conservation, our ability to bring in the ideas that are important for regional stability, peace, and inclusion. And that's where 2 important leads from academics, and I'm extremely happy that Dr. Arvind Kumar, you have been pushing in this very important cause, because I think before our concerns become crisis, we need to act. And we need to act for regional stability. We need to work with our neighbors. before our concerns become a crisis. It is also important that the momentum which we have got at the top with the UN and with G7, that momentum of cooperation should continue before it becomes a ground for contestation. And that part, I think, is extremely important. So before concerns become crisis and before cooperation turns up into contestation, academics and institutions like yours have this very important role to drive in points where we can strategize at the municipal corporation level, at the state level, and at the national level, convergence of different policies. Prime Minister Modi has been talking about going beyond specific ministerial mandates to bring in convergence in our plan of action. And that, I think, is important for us to bring in. Second point that I want to mention is in terms of our anticipative ability to avert regional and local crisis. There are several cities in India now, but we are very well aware of the crisis that Cape Town has gone through in South Africa. We are not unaware of this crisis deepening in several parts of Greece and Spain, where water crisis has deepened. So we are extremely concerned in terms of how our anticipative abilities are strengthened at municipal corporation level, at the state level, and at the national level to bring in these dimensions. We also are not to forget what Anupam ji wrote at some point, khare hain talab. So how we continue to focus on water bodies in urban spaces. And this is something which we should not forget what our very famous author, writer, Rabindranath Tagore wrote in 1914 against the British Municipal Corporation of Kolkata when they decided to have water supply at various residences in Kolkata. And he criticized British government to take that decision and the Municipal Corporation of Kolkata to give water at residences. And now people may wonder why he did so. But in his editorial, in his newsletter, he explained why he is opposed to water supply, because then he sort of thought that people would get disconnected with the pokhas, the local water spaces that are available to them. Because if they go to water body, they realize the importance of water. And if water is coming at home, people may underestimate the value that is being incurred because that is invisible. So people's connect with water bodies are extremely important. And we need to revisit the way we fence off river flow in urban areas. I think we need to revisit that. You cross the Japanese-built Nizamuddin Bridge, it is blocking your view. There are many other purposes, but people are still throwing flowers and other worship that they are doing. But I think it is important for us to expose these water bodies, flowing rivers amidst us, that they are no more flowing. They are stuck because things are there. So we need to connect ecosystem and biodiversity. Also, Arvindji, we require a national body in the country to bring in this convergence. Niti Aayog has the mandate, but I think we require what German government has done in form of German Advisory Council on Global Change. And if you see the report that they have brought out just before the G7 summit on water bodies, it is a very important report. We need to factor in the various dimensions that this report raises. I, at the G20, met Anna Katerina from the German Development Institute, IDOS, in Bonn. And we were discussing about the new German strategies that are important. It is also pertinent for us to take this conversation to the global south and bring in the issues which are there. because as part of the green revolution, we all have taken forward one particular cropping pattern which has contributed in terms of taking away 72% of our fresh water, as global numbers are indicating. 15% of it is being used by the 19th century sewage system that we have inherited, and 13% is being consumed by industry. So when these numbers are there, we need to work out what is there. Recently, I have edited a special issue of Economic and Political Weekly, EPW, and I have written a paper on agriculture trade. There I have shown that 65 to 90% of the virtual water flow comes in from trade and agriculture export from the regions where rice is being grown, Punjab and Haryana. 1989 S.K. Sinha committee suggested that we need to switch over from this. Water Technology Center at IRI Pusa requires re-energization for us to see how best virtual trade can be stopped and in what way we can go forward. I'm also extremely delighted that you are focusing on science and education, and you are trying to reach out to education sector, to students and universities. So I think it is important for us to take this education related to science of water conservation to our students, to bring in awareness about water cycle. To bring in media, but also explain to them the consequences of water crisis. And that probably, I think, is important. During India's G20 presidency, as all of you are aware, Prime Minister introduced the idea of life, the lifestyle for sustainable development. We cannot copy West in terms of economic advancements. India is the fastest growing economy in the world. We are far ahead, though our numbers have gone down in this quarter, but still, if you see at the end of the year, we would be the fastest growing economy. With this rise in income levels, with the rise in numbers of billionaires and millionaires in our parts of the world, not only India, but China, Brazil, South Africa, Indonesia, Turkey, Mexico, they are not far behind. They are also growing at a very fast pace. In these countries with rising income levels, we cannot copy the West lifestyles, and which are extremely resource intensive. We need to find technological solutions so that sewage system can have less dependence on resources. Water is most crucial of them, so is electricity and other dimensions. And that's where the idea of lifestyle for sustainable development, our connect with ecosystem and biodiversity is important. Before I close, 2 points I want to mention. One is in terms of funding and finance. And this is one important dimension that we need to see how water conservation strategies can have adequate funding, incentives and disincentive mechanisms for this. The moment some state governments have entered in pricing of water on great recommendation of World Bank, we have fallen flat. World Bank cannot be our guide, they cannot be our philosopher. Washington consensus has failed. We need to have our new consensus on development, and that should drive incentives and the mechanisms that we need to go forward. AEI, access, equity, and inclusion. They are extremely important from social justice perspective, and that's where we need to bring in perspectives that are important. At my own institute at RIS, Prime Minister on 17th November launched what is called as Dakshin. Dakshin, as you know, is a Sanskrit word which means south. But Dakshin is also about the development and knowledge sharing initiative. It is the Global South Center of Excellence, and our idea is to collate development practices of India and take them forward to the Global South. All Indian missions now are geared up. We have established contacts with 320 think tanks from the Global South. And in January, we are going to call a major conference of all the Dakshin institutions, but on issues that are important for the Global South in general. On 13th of December, in this very conference room, we have invited Thomas Piketty to discuss this idea of inequality in terms of access to resources. So it is important for us to realize the inequality that is coming in our societies, and that's where the idea of access, equity, and inclusion, be that for water, but for any other resources, I think is important. I once again congratulate you for this excellent initiative. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you, sir, and congratulations on the various initiatives that the think tank is promoting. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us today Ms. Mikiko Tanaka. She is heading the South and Southwest Asia Office UNESCAP. It is a pleasure to have you here with us. May I request you to kindly share your thoughts with us?
Thank you very much. For gender balance, I have to speak. Okay. So Shri Amit Ghosh, the Additional Secretary for the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment of the Government of India, Shri Sachin Chaturvedi, the Director General of RIS, our very important, one of our many important partners, think tanks, and Dr. Arvind Kumar, of course, another important think tank partner, India Water Foundation, and my dear colleague Shambhi Sharp, UN Resident Coordinator of India. I just want to add a few words because I think Shambhi has well covered, the work of the UN and the perspectives of the UN in relation to this theme. But since ESCAP, it's a regional commission of the UN covering Asia Pacific, just wanted to maybe emphasize a bit the importance of regional cooperation. Why is it important for this theme of water, energy, environment, nexus? So maybe three, I'll try. Okay, first is that it's commonsensical, but in the day-to-day lives, we kind of forget the transboundary nature of water. Water flows through all our countries, regardless of borders. The aquifers underground are all connected in the same ecosystem across countries. Rivers flow into oceans. So even, SDG 14, which is life below water, talking more of the marine resources, landlocked countries and those living inland may think, oh, that's not any of our business. But actually, it very much is. It's the pollution that flows into the marine, the plastic, the water contamination, and all kinds of this ecosystem disturbances we see in climate change. It's very much generated from inland as well. So this transboundary nature of it is really, really important, and that awareness that what happens upstream affects downstream and vice versa is really, really important. Therefore, this regional cooperation, it's actually global cooperation, but since it's ESCAP, I'm just focusing on that. It's very important. Number two, water security, energy security is, two of the most sensitive security issues for any country, for that matter. Therefore, the legal frameworks, policies, they're very much kind of, nationally framed. And again, when you have transboundary, connections of water and energy, for that matter, that cooperation, the coherence of it. Sometimes these national policies and frameworks do clash, and so it's really important that harmonization or at least cooperation, coordination is done. Thereby, the importance of again cooperation at the regional level. And then thirdly is with the water scarcity. The demand, everybody has spoken, how demand for water rises and rises, progresses, population growth, industrialization, all kinds of demands on water, it really rises. And again, with the climate change, also we are seeing many, many areas of symptoms of depletion of water, scarcity of water, and this fuels conflict, and we have examples of that all over the world. So as a measure of conflict prevention as well, this cooperation is really, really important, almost existential. And at the regional level, there are examples of that cooperation, more structured, but there is a need for more of it as, again, there's more unpredictability in climate change and this issue of, how we manage together so that everybody at least has access and that there is no conflict through that. So I just wanted to add those 3 points, but really I'd like to thank, the India Water Foundations for this wonderful amazing mobilization capacity of, really bringing in so many partners and stakeholders. And, it's very evident that everybody has a role to play in, addressing and resolving the many problems of this very complex nexus around water, energy, and environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Naka, for sharing your thoughts with us and for being there as a partner. We are indeed very thankful to UNSCAP for your support. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning we have with us Shri Amit Kumar Ghosh, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India. He has led groundbreaking initiatives in infrastructure and social welfare, shaping India's development trajectory. It gives me great pleasure to request him to kindly address the August gathering.
Good morning. Dr. Arvind Kumar, the President of the India Water Foundation, Shri Sachin Chaturvedi ji, Director General of the RIS, Shri Shombi Sharp, UN Resident Coordinator in India, Madam Mikiko Tanaka, Director of the South and Southwest Asia Office of the UNSCAP, and esteemed guests and participants, I would like to congratulate the India Water Foundation led by Dr. Arvind Kumar for, organizing this South and Southwest Asia focused conversation on SDG 6, and when we met and we discussed this, this transversality of it. So it is really something that adds to the conversation which one keeps hearing, and really whatever we do, whether at the international level or at the national level, I think versatility and convergence and synergy, they are at the heart of it all. A stage comes when you start looking at problems not from the limited perspective of what you are experiencing, but from the point of view of the kind of world that you wish to leave behind. So I think this is a great occasion, and I was going through your entire schedule, and I'm really impressed by the people you have assembled to address and deliberate upon the issues, and many of them are present here, others will join. So, I presently work in the Ministry of Social Justice, and here also we grapple with the problem of inclusivity. What is it that, challenges us? It is the huge numbers in India of the marginalized, who continue to be marginalized, and there is a real possibility that after we hang our boots after 35 years of service, they will continue to be marginalized. The possibility and probability of the poor remaining poor is something which tugs at the heart and doesn't let you, have peace of mind, because this is something which is really unacceptable. And the task is very humongous. So today when we are focusing on water, I can share with you that I come from eastern part of the country, and though I've lived always outside, but I always had a part of my life attached to the village from where we came. And till my teens, I would go to that once a year and dive into the river and swim. But no longer the river flows. In my own life, I have seen the river. It's almost dead. It is only at the time of when you have to immerse the idol of goddess Durga that you clear the, the coverage of that green thing which kills the river, and then you immerse the idol. That is it. No boat runs in that river. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands of such streams or rivers in India. In March 2000, I was the magistrate on duty when the President of US, Bill Clinton, he came and he signed an MOU with the government of Uttar Pradesh in Agra, which included, among other things, rejuvenation of rivers in UP, so technology support for that. And I remember that he said that it was not long ago that in the US of A, most of the rivers were so polluted that it was difficult to, it was difficult to enter those water bodies, but they have actually got the experience of reversing that process. That really inspired me. Post that, because see, in Agra, there was no drinking water. And even today, I dare say, we don't have the drinking water. What has happened is that we have moved from water pumps to integrated water supply schemes. But the sustainability of it, after about 25 years, I am removed from that setting, I am not so sure. And that point was alluded to by DGRIS. The sustainability part, that story about Gurudev, Rabindranath Tagore that you recited. So, the second thing is that those of us who have the access, there is unequal access, and there is this culture of waste. Hence, what was pointed out by previous speakers about working not only at the national or the international level, but also working at the community level. So, fighting the culture of waste is very important. So, when we talk about integrating the marginalized, from our perspective, the perspective of my ministry, we talk about social inclusivity. Because India is a hierarchical, socially unequal kind of society historically. But we also have to achieve educational inclusivity. What kind of education are we imparting? Can we include some lessons on sustainable living right from the time that the human mind is introduced to the formal system of education? And the third is economic. As long as I remember that as a child when I had read Mrs. Gandhi speak at one of the some international, I was in school, that poverty is the biggest polluter. 70? 72. Okay, so maybe I was in third standard or something, second standard. So, but I remember that and it hit me that poverty is the biggest polluter. So, I think that, to achieve these goals, we have to align the objectives and the targets as well as the policies and then the action plans with the action plans for and the policies for poverty alleviation, improved living, etc. So, everything counts. I have some data which doesn't really add much to the conversation because everybody here is an expert and I am the non-expert. But I am told that globally the energy sector withdraws nearly 10% of the total fresh water. In India, agriculture alone consumes more than 80% of the available fresh water, much of which is linked to energy-intensive irrigation practices. 80% of wastewater flows untreated into rivers and lakes. I have already alluded to that problem earlier. So, by 2030, our water demand is projected to exceed supply by 40%, and energy demand will double, driven by industrial growth, urbanization, and so on and so forth. The environment is expected to bear the brunt of unregulated exploitation, air quality decline. So, once you come to Delhi and serve in Government of India, then you realize that Government of India, why they were, our seniors used to say life is tough in Delhi. The air quality is really, really difficult over here. So, I'm also, looking at the possibilities of integrated approaches. Earlier, I was in the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, and one of the things that we did was blending of fuels, so that we have some blended biofuels. And we have actually issued the standards for India, though we are far behind global leaders like Brazil. So the blended fuels which are now available across India, and because our automobile sector moves at its own pace, so bringing them together for sustainability. So these are the kind of things that are required to look after environment, which is the energy, environment, water nexus that we are talking about. Hydropower, how do we actually maximize and cut down the inefficiencies on that? Poor waste management. This is another very big area where we have to have our, so we have to work in such a way that trade-offs are minimized and synergies are maximized. So I think that is what I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, on this occasion. May I just mention that I hope that this two-day conference will, today I think, Professor? Yeah, will, give us some direction, give us some momentum, impetus, and guidance as to how we can achieve the objectives of SDG 6 better and faster. And I look forward to reading the proceedings and the conclusions from this conference. Once again, I thank India Water Foundation for giving me the privilege of being here today and addressing you, and I wish you all the very best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing insights and thoughts into unique challenges of conserving water in India. So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our first session of the day, which was Plenary 1. We take the pleasure of once again thanking you all. Please do join us for a break, for a tea break, but let's restrict it to only about 20 minutes, since by my watch, we are round about at 11:10 right now. So let's meet sharp at 11:30 for the next session, which is Leaders Forum, Deciphering Water, Energy, Environment Nexus through Multi-Sectoral Dialogues. It will be here in the same hall, so let's congregate back once again, 11:30 sharp. May I request you all to please do join us back in time so that we can start the deliberations on time. Thank you. Enjoy the break.